Hakuna kiongozi ambaye hana gome yake ya kisiasa. Na gome ya kisiasa ya rais wetu ni hapa Mlima Kenya na Bonde la Ufa.
Lakini wakileta nyokonyoko, simuko tayari.
Kwa mkutano nikiondoka, nikapata mtu anaitwa Moses Kuria amenipigia simu. Nikipigia yeye ananiambia vice chair. Nashindwa, Moses ni ule.
Nimeambia wakora wote na matapeli na wezi pamoja na wafisadi wote mambo yao ni matatu. Either wahame Kenya, waende jela, ama wasafiri waende mbinguni.
And welcome, all right? But a quick, I want you to think about something. What is the craziest political activity you've seen this week? All right? Are you done thinking about it? Now, buckle yourself up because it is going to be a wild ride as we bring you Debatable, Agree to Disagree, your Saturday edition. I am yours, Alan Hubbard, and without further ado.
Yes, my name is Boniface Mirikwa.
Yes.
On Twitter at Bonified _Bonified.
Yes.
It's a good thing that we are doing these Saturday editions, and at least we are capturing everything that happens across the week. And how was your week, Alan?
My week, before we go into my week, yeah, okay. I see you pull the first one on me. Instead of me asking you, ask me first.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you either way. But also, I did not want to give this homework only to our viewers. Yeah, I also wanted to give this homework to you. What is the wildest political activity that you have seen this week?
I think perhaps the bomb that was dropped to the hospital at Gaza.
Yes,
I think that was it was a scare because it doesn't matter who did it.
Yes,
it doesn't matter the kind of factions that you believe in, the kind of rhetoric or theories. A lot of lives were lost.
Over 400 people.
Yeah, so it was really sad, and that was the political kind of the height of politics for me this week.
All right, before me, I tell you how my week was. For me, it was two activities that made me wonder why this week behaved like this. One, the Secret Service, the FBI, the Mossad, the CIA, and everybody in intelligence had to come together to pull off a visit by Joe Biden, POTUS 1, to Israel. In a war zone, in a country that Lebanon is flying rockets over, and you have the president of arguably the strongest man or the strongest nation in the world, and you bring that man to that soil. These guys can joke.
Absolutely. I think, I saw that the plane touchdown on Israel, and it was unbelievable that this man can just walk in a war zone.
Yes.
And you remember the time that President Obama came to Kenya?
Absolutely.
We were not even in a war or anything.
Yeah, but the mere scale of Somalia, remember? The mere scale of Somalia. Yeah.
And you remember the headlines then? That the president is going to a war-torn country.
Yeah.
I didn't see those headlines recently. So perhaps also it highlights the kind of way that international media views different countries. Of course, we understand that Israel has capacity, and perhaps that is one thing that the President Biden backed down when he chose to go to Israel.
I think also, I hope we haven't started, but I think also it was very important for Biden to show that solidarity. It was very important for Biden to show that solidarity. Now, my other activity, and this one is a wild tech. During the week, I told you there is no way, there is absolutely no way President William Ruto will be in China and Vladimir Putin goes out of his way to leave Russia, to leave St. Petersburg, to leave Moscow, to go to Beijing. Actually, he wasn't really in Beijing, but he was on the border of Russia and China. And there is no way that President William Ruto might not have met Vladimir Putin.
There is a very high possibility.
And why do I say there is a very high possibility? Xi Jinping met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping definitely still met with the President William Ruto. You cannot tell me that none of them asked, how is the other guy doing? You get?
Definitely. You know, Kenya is a strategic partner to Russia. In fact, most of our military equipment.
Yeah.
The lorries, the tanks.
Yes.
Most of them come from Russia. So Kenya and Russia have a friendship that goes way back.
Yeah.
And it is possible. It is possible. On that World Tech, I'll join you on that. That maybe, perhaps, the two presidents met.
And then, do you know what that makes Ruto?
Tell me.
It makes him a good player.
He knows how to juggle the East and the West.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my week. My week was quite eventful and interesting.
Yeah.
Besides the political activity, just watching what is happening in the country, fake lawyers, Kanjo becoming the new moral, quote-unquote moral police in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And what else? A very, very alarming and silent deputy president. Yeah, very alarming. We are not seeing the truthful men in the news. We hope that he had a field day during the Mashuja celebrations. That we're going to talk about on Monday. But that's basically how my week has been. Nothing rather interesting or very alarming, but also the jitters that we saw the headline in the Daily Nation and the Standard. Surprisingly, almost a close sort of headlines. The Standard says jitters in UDA. Also, the Nation sort of runs with the same headline, and we are seeing a repeat of what was happening in Jubilee. A faction in the same political party swinging towards the deputy president, and another faction swinging towards the president. Are we just seeing reincarnation happening?
Yeah. Well, there is also something that Moses Kuria said in regarding to Kawira Mwangaza that was in conflict with the deputy president. He was saying that the deputy president is not doing right to what is happening to Kawira Mwangaza. So that is also a fracture that perhaps you are also alluding to. That, you know, we are seeing double speak. We are seeing fractures that we really cannot ignore, and they are happening. So I don't think UDA was, I don't want to imagine that UDA was built on quicksand.
Yes.
That is
absolutely. Absolutely. Why don't you want to imagine it? And it's a fact. It's written in plain paper. 3 months to the election.
I want to think it as a party that was solid, because it holds a very important strategic point in our nation in terms of politics. Because this was a party that was born out of ideas. We want to imagine that it was born out of ideas and out of, a philosophy.
Yes.
So we need
a philosophy that has been lost. Okay, continue. Sorry.
We need
forgive my rudeness.
we need them to hold on together. To prove to all of us that you can form a party that is not based on tribe, and it can thrive in Kenya, and you can get political seats and etc. So it is a turning point that we are seeing and we are witnessing that I don't believe should happen. If even UDA wants to these other parties to join them, then they really don't need kind of confusion within them. And we are seeing even Malala is becoming kind of a problem to
the party itself.
Some people, and there is a motion that he should be relieved of his duties. So there's a lot going on in UDA, and they need to fix that before they go to the election that they want to do.
As you say this, does this mean that you exonerate the likes of people from is it Bonde la Ufa, Western Kenya, where that Moses Masika Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi have refused to break their parties to entirely join UDA? Does what is happening in UDA, does that seal it for you?
Yes.
Because you seem to be against it. If you're here, then be here.
When they are planning maybe to join another party, and you cannot join a group of people who don't seem to be speaking in one voice. Then you're telling me I'm joining a crumbling house. It's going to fall on me. The roof is going to fall on me. So they need to organize their house first. They need to be it is normal for a party to have this kind of wrangles and etc. But what is the mechanism that they are putting in place to make sure that they are solved, to make sure that every kind of voice is heard and they are well taken care of? So these are the mechanisms that they should put forward to encourage other parties that if you join this party, you can stay here and you can be promised that there is a future for you. So that is, I think, what they need to do before they start inviting people in their house.
Yeah, and you've rightly quoted what Malala was quoted as saying. I think it was in the Standard or either the Daily Nation. Yeah. He said, why would we be a strong party if we don't have squabbles? Yeah, these squabbles are telling you that we are a strong party. But then I like how you extend it and say, okay, you can have the squabbles, but do you have mechanisms to solve these squabbles? Yeah.
I think that is the most important thing. Even in a basic kind of setup, you understand that even if it is a group of a few people, you will have wrangles in between you. But how do you solve it? That is the big question. When it comes, how do you solve it? That is what is missing in UDA right now.
Who is pushing over Kawira Mwangaza? Because the Kenya police comes out on their social media platforms and say, we were not responsible for kubeba mheshimiwa. But then we see the pictures, gari za polisi, kuna polisi wako hapo. What is happening to Kawira Mwangaza?
Kawira Mwangaza, having been in the elected on an independent ticket, has a lot of enemies, like everyone else.
She's like Burna Boy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of enemies. Yeah.
She's an island.
Yeah.
And she needs to tread carefully because, people need their interests solved. They need their interests acknowledged.
And taken care of.
Yeah. And you have a whole community because I think Meru is just, it has about 2 counties, Meru and Tharaka Nithi, but the bulk is in Meru. Yeah. And if we are looking at the position that Kawira Mwangaza holds, it's a very important position according to that kind of a community. So Kawira Mwangaza has perhaps opposition from
all factions,
from maybe perhaps Kithure Kindiki. That is what he's alluding.
I wouldn't say that Kithure Kindiki. The man works. I would even, if you said what agriculture CS, I would have agreed. But Kithure Kindiki,
I was going there.
Okay.
And then the agriculture and then the agriculture CS also. And we have interest. There is interest from UDA also, because that was a reserve of the UDA. So the UDA party also has an interest in that seat. So I think he's getting different signals from different areas that you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. And sometimes you can follow one person, then you get a lot of people now opposing you for that kind of a decision. So she is a person that is getting a lot of hit also from even the former governor Kiraitu Murungi. I bet his party Mbas also has an interest in that. So I think she is torn apart over who to choose, where to go, who to follow.
She's literally in a rock and a hard and a hard place.
And she has also to deliver her mandate because I believe she needs a second term.
Now you see that delivering now is a catch-22. Yeah. So you have a rock and a hard place, and then you have a catch-22 of delivery. Basically to show that she's effed up, basically.
She is. I think delivering for her
would be a very hard task, because also MCAs are not passing laws that need work to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. She needs to work with one party. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, she will have to work with one party. She will not work.
No, I don't think so.
Why?
I would rather she folds a honorable woman than rather going against your principles. Because at least, Bonnie, one of the biggest challenges that we have in this country is we do not have enough people to emulate. If Kawira Mwangaza decides and says that I am not going to join any political party, and if it is to impeach me to lose my position, then well be it. I will go into history as the shortest serving governor, but a governor who went down with principle. And I believe that is what you call democracy.
I believe that is democracy. That is democracy.
But why don't you want democracy to prevail in this manner?
At the end of the day, even if you're talking about democracy,
yes,
power is to the people. The people elected these parties to represent them in
Yes.
government. I'm talking about MCS.
Yes.
And you know, they represent the people in the manner that their parties also have ideologies that sold to the ground level. So they need their views to be heard.
Yeah.
So if Kawira Mwangaza can work with them, she doesn't have to relinquish her role or anything. She just needs to work with them.
Yeah.
I think that is what the MCAs are telling us. Although, unless there is something else.
Absolutely, there is something else. There is something else that they're not talking about.
They're saying that she's not talking with us. You know, if it is working with them, it is very simple.
Yeah.
Are they bringing bills that are resonating with the people on the ground? Of
Meru, yeah.
Yeah, that is the important thing that they need to do. So if that is the problem, it can be solved with her working with them, coming together and discussing issues that people of Meru need to be addressed.
Yeah.
She's taking a solo kind of adventure to go out and deliver her mandate alone. You know, sometimes, even if it is a democracy, that is not the best way of handling things. You need to work with people. You have the CECs, you have program managers and everything for the county. If you work through the channels, it becomes easier even for you. You'll not get a lot of heat because you have a plan for the people of Meru.
You have a plan. The big word here is plan. But also, it's very interesting. In politics, whenever they say you have to work with us, you know what that line means when it's political. You get? So probably Kawira Mwangaza does not want to go to that extent of saying, now I am going to work with them. Because when you talk about working with people and put it in political contextualization, then definitely you have lost it. But if they are going to work based on the constitution of the land, Kenya, and also based on the acts and laws of Meru County, then there shouldn't be any problem. But as I hear the governor say that there are things that the previous governor wants to happen that this governor does not subscribe to. You get? So there is no aspect of working together. There's this aspect of wanting things to continue as they have been continuing all the while. Yes. Then how do I leave my legacy as a governor who has come to serve my people if I'm going to continue to? You see, it is the story of, I think this is a question that was asked by a journalist to Vladimir Putin, and he was like, why don't you like Western leaders? And he said, Western leaders are not leaders, because once you are elected as president, then black men in red ties or blue ties come into your office and tell you, hey, this is what you're going to do. So Kawira Mwangaza is saying, I do not want any men or women in black suits coming to my office and telling me, and coming with briefcases and swinging them in front of me and telling me, this is what you're going to do. You see, they needed even to resort to extents of faking a whole arrest. These are desperate people.
There's a lot of drama going on in Meru.
There is a lot of drama going on in Meru.
And you know, it can work to her favor if she's persistent enough. But you know, she has because a whole year these parties are really coming at her. But it can work to her favor in that she will not be ascribing to any political party. You know, when it comes to the elections, she'll have a better kind of a scenario compared to others who will say that I'm aligning to UDA. So people who don't like UDA will fight him. You know, I'm aligning to Mbasi. People who don't like Mbasi, they will fight them. So she can get leverage in that manner. But as things are right now, you know, these MCAs are not giving her a chance to deliver. And there's seemingly an unseen power somewhere that is also working against her. And they are trying to frustrate her efforts to deliver to the people. And it is all coming down to what she's delivering to, you know, at the end of the day to the people, and if they're going to elect her come 2027.
What is the only seeming direction that she can take?
It is a hard kind of a scenario that she's in right now. She can decide. She has different options. She can decide to go solo, the way she's doing, and try to work as she sees fit to deliver to the people. But at the same time, she needs people to work with her, people who are going to ascribe to her philosophy of working.
Yeah.
I think she's a person that likes delivering on her own, to go to the ground and talk to the people.
Yeah.
There was this Mulika, is it Mulika? Initiative
Something,
that he had that the government did not want. And
also, they're giving away of cattle.
yeah, the other day, she was giving cattle. So she can try to do that on her own. I think it will gain her a good reputation, and just the way she won, it doesn't come winning. Winning doesn't come just like that. People had seen something in her.
Yeah.
So I think if she continues working with the people and honestly working with the people, she can have a very good chance to secure her seat again.
I think this also shows that Meru people are one of the most civically educated community in the country. Sorry to put it that way, but we have to say things as they are. When you look at the governor, independent, when you look at senator, when you look at the MCS who are coming from the different factions, these are voters that seemingly knew what they wanted. They elected leaders based on merit. They did not only elect based off of that United Democratic Alliance wave that was happening during the 2022 general elections. We can believe this whole conversation and probably never end it. But I want us to go to go east. The president has had a 3-day visit to the Republic of China, coming back with an extra 1 billion, is it 1 billion or 100 billion Kenyan shillings in debt that he has picked from China, and investment goodies that he says are coming into Kenya after his visit, and also that meeting with the president of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping. What do you make of this East visit by the president?
The president had to do that visit. He didn't have much of an option.
Yes.
To maybe send someone else to represent him. He had to go there because, it is his first visit since he was elected president to go to China. And, people take these trips quite early. I think he's already late. 1 year down the line.
Yes.
It's the first time that he's going there. So he had to go and speak to President Xi as the president of Kenya. They get maybe to know each other better as presidents and what sectors they can invest in. And Kenya needs China as much as China needs influence in Africa. Kenya is a strategic partner that can deliver this kind of influence across East Africa and Africa. So as much also China is investing in tech, Huawei, 5G, etc. And Kenya is a front runner in tech in Africa. So China needs this space to expound its influence as much as also Kenya will be benefiting. So the president had to go there. He had to go there. And as much as he's looking east, he's looking west. Also, he has also to balance because, Africa, since independence, we've been gambling between the east and the west. It's called the 9 alignment. So we benefit from both sides.
Yani if we are betting for those all who are going to bet this Saturday, unaweka both teams to score.
Unaweka both teams. Lakini saa zingine unaweka moja ikuwe at least a higher percent. But I think just like other presidents of Kenya, in his first term he can look this side, and in his second term he can decide to look the other side, so that they can balance things and get Kenya moving.
Interesting. Thursday morning I wake up, when I wake up on Thursday morning, and I sat on my bed and pondered, whenever early in the morning, these weird questions come to me every other morning. And the weird question that came to me Thursday morning was, what is the president saying that many people are not saying? And why I asked myself that, you see, there is this conversation, either it has been set like that, or it's either that the media, and when I talk about the media right now, the mainstream media rarely these days sets agendas. Now agendas are set on social media. So I asked myself, is it that social media has set an agenda to show that Kenya is struggling as a country? And if then that is not the fact, or if that is the fact, how is the president looking at this exactly? And my question to you on the visit of the president to China, what takes the president to China? Leave alone this dalliance that we have, that we owe them money. This is a man that has focused on the West for entirely a whole year. He went to the UK, he went to the United States, he went to France,
Germany.
He went to Germany and all these other countries. And you say last minute, as a last minute result, you decide to go to the East. And the East is very interesting. They did not push him away. They welcomed him. What is the president thinking about that we are not saying?
The president is looking at all opportunities for Kenya and for Kenya to prosper. You know, these two philosophies, the East and the West, they have their kind of war. And that is a war that Kenya should not get into. You know, the US will have their say on whatever principles they have in democracy. China will have its say on how to loan countries that are in developing stage. So the president is weighing. You know, you cannot depend fully on one side. It can come and fail you. You remember what Ukraine did, and when they went into war with Russia, we all expected the West to join in that war actively and defend Ukraine. But what is happening right now, about 1-2 years later, the West are not joining that war. Ukraine is fighting, but they are only supplying them with resources. So in that kind of a scenario, you need to benefit in both sides. China has good offers. We cannot say that China, just because it's in the East, it doesn't have important deals, important agendas for Africa. It is growing the economy of South Africa. Russia, China, the East. South Africa is really benefiting from them after they benefited from the West. So I think the president is looking at that scenario to grow maybe and simulate what South Africa is doing. Although South Africa is politically leaning towards the East, but they are still benefiting from the West. You know? So I think that is the way that President Ruto is also looking at this situation. And Kenya is also a strategic partner in the Belt and Road Initiative.
Absolutely.
In the East Africa, Kenya is the doorway through the Lamu port and the SGR. So if the president wants to increase the length of the SGR to invest, China is the only country that can assist this kind of an initiative. The US has its own agenda to build, is it a highway? From Nairobi to Mombasa, but that is a highway. Who is going to extend the SGR? That is China. And the president needs it, you know, it's by 2027, if that is done, it's going to earn him some political mileage.
But the prospect of it alone is quite exciting. A railway that runs from Mombasa to Naivasha, from Naivasha to Malaba, from Malaba straight through the DR Congo, then to the Congo Brazzaville. That is quite an interesting prospect, and the opportunities that it could open are quite immense. But now my question that I belabor all the time, why isn't Africa, when we look at banks like the Africa Development Bank, why isn't it the bank that places itself to sort of develop such infrastructure? Because if you loan African countries money to do such projects, then the money that they generate from such projects go back into the Africa Development Bank so that you are able to develop your banks. Isn't any leader, because also other leaders from Africa were at that summit, who all are benefiting from the infrastructure that China provides to them? Why aren't Africans thinking about that in that manner?
The African Development Bank is doing a lot of projects in Africa, also in Kenya. We've seen roads that the bank is developing, facilitating a lot of other projects that are being done by the bank. But at the end of the day, our major enemy is corruption, and it's down to that. It's down to corruption, because as much as we get facilities, we get money from outside for projects, they don't end up helping us. They end up in the pockets of a few. So that is the major problem that Africa has, and African institutions have. And then you'll find that, perhaps I've not gone into the details, you might find that there is the Western hand in these institutions. For example, we know that Africa Union has a lot of help from the West.
And so, also the East.
And also
who built your headquarters?
Exactly. So you find that they cannot fully align to the agenda that Africa needs. They will align to the agenda that their sponsors want.
Yeah.
And that is the big problem that you have in Africa with these institutions.
Yeah. Interesting. The president jetted back in through the country. We saw what he did on Friday during Mashujaa Day. That was quite some political event. We are going to cover it extensively on Monday. So do make sure that you subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that when we put out the Monday one, you also get to be a part of that. The deputy president, very quiet. What's not happening to the truthful men?
The truthful man, I think he's assessing the situation that is currently going on.
Yeah.
And he's getting backlash from quarters that he doesn't even understand why it is happening. For example, Moses Kuria.
Yeah.
I think Moses Kuria is also trying to bargain for his political life after this regime has gone.
Yeah.
Moses Kuria is looking at a position where he entered government not through the deputy president. You remember he had a party with Martha Karua. He wanted to form a party.
Yeah.
Then I think, I don't remember the name of the party, but he got in through that kind of a door. Yeah. Some other people got in through the deputy president, but he did not use that channel.
He brought himself.
Yes. So I think that is why Moses Kuria has...
He has the audacity to talk the way he talks.
Exactly. He sees himself as self-made as opposed
as
to
a core
others.
principal rather than as a servant.
Yes, as a core principle. It's a huge term.
How would you term him? He's playing at the leagues of the likes of Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. They came in with political parties.
Well, if we are talking about core principles, perhaps
I've taken it so far, too far.
He can have that tag, but the weight that comes with it is something maybe that he doesn't have, because these other people brought in quite a chunk of votes. Yeah. But he sees himself as that, and that is why he's maybe differing with the deputy president in different lines. Yeah.
What does a truthful man do after this long introspection? I think the problem is he stopped going to the mountain to pray. Remember those prayers?
Yeah.
Remember those
facing the mountain.
Facing the mountain, yeah. You need to go back to church, yeah, for yours to sort of end. But on a serious note, when we watch what happened on Mashujaa Day, and we also see the jitters that are happening in UDA, the different factions. As we started the show, we talked about this. The different factions that are sort of a rift. Literally, a rift valley is happening in UDA, where some principles are aligning with the president and others are sort of gravitating towards the deputy president. What gameplay does he have to play right now?
The deputy president needs to align 100% with the president. He needs to align with the president more than ever right now, because he needs to be the running mate again in 2027. And the president is not going to pick someone who is not sure of whether to support or not. I'm not saying that he's at that stage yet, but he needs to align with the president 100%. Do you remember the time when he was going to resolve issues in Kericho and different parts? Yeah, that was a good role for him. That he needs to take that step to go and resolve everything that happens in the party, align everyone to the president, let the president handle other things, but he can maybe do one or two and also go to different parts of the country to bring people together. I remember during the first term of the president, when he was 2013, 2017, he really aligned with with Uhuru Kenyatta that time. He was going different parts of the country.
Red ties.
Yes. Just to bring people together and
white shirts
and and try to align everyone together to
have this common vision
of Jubilee at that time. Yeah. So I think that is what the current DP needs to do. He needs to go to different parts of the country. Yeah. Just is simply countering. He should be countering the opposition. Yeah. They're saying, and defending the government. That is the role that he's supposed to take. Yeah. So that towards 2027 he can amass a lot of numbers in his backyard and beyond to push the president towards the second term, unless he wants to be president.
I think also, even as he's doing that, I think also the gameplay has to change. How is he doing it? I think the biggest challenge that I see with the deputy president, he does not have agents. Yeah, he does not have foot soldiers that would go on. Because take for example, for some weird reason, former President Uhuru Kenyatta to this day still trends on our social media platforms. How often does the deputy president of the current government, how often does he trend? Not unless he's in Italy calling leopards and lions the one and the same thing. You get. So I think the deputy president needs to marshal up an army. Remember that lady who gave him the name Rigathi? I think he needs to put her to proper use and have a proper sort of social media strategy. For instance, look at the president. The president is not even. I rarely see tweets from State House Kenya, but you will always find a tweet from the Twitter page or the Twitter or the X handle of the president.
And you some photos.
And some photos, there's live events, but nobody is helping the deputy president strategize himself. I think the deputy president needs to get back the power to control the narrative around him, because so many people are controlling his narrative. I think if... And this is what the president sort of wins so much about. Whatever is happening in the country, notwithstanding, he will control his narrative. He has people who are controlling. Talk about bloggers, talk about some social media platforms that have been accused. I will not mention some of them. And some influencers that always, if things are going south, they make sure that the narrative of the president is controlled and is going north. I think that is one of the game plans that the deputy president needs to play with. And also he needs, agreeing with what you're saying, he needs to be visible. You cannot afford to be silent an entire week in the politics of Kenya. You will become distinct.
Very fast, quick fast. He needs to come out and show that he is the deputy president, as we said earlier, of the entire country. You're not restricted to visit Garissa today and tell them about something that they are facing and how you are addressing that. You're not restricted to go to Western. It doesn't mean that the president has to go to Western so that the deputy president should go to Western. He can go to Western, he can go to Nyanza and just tell them what the government is trying to do for them to keep people calm. You know? You don't have to be the person who is creating that rift. That there is people who are shareholders and non-shareholders. That will only bring chaos in your camp. If you're saying that, then as the regime goes on, you're going to lose people from your camp. Are you gaining more from the other camp? That is the question that they need to ask themselves. So he needs to be lenient, he needs to be calm, he needs to be very, very collective to give his message and bring people together than divide them.
Interesting there. And I also think that what was on my mind? Something was on my mind. It's also this whole problem of the deputy president also comes from the constitution, because even as we are telling him to do all of this, the constitution does not explicitly say this is the role of the deputy president. And I think if the constitution was able to say that probably the deputy president is the face of the country, then that would have been appropriate. But when you look at things that Rigathi Gachagua could have done, it is Musalia Mudavadi who is doing it, taking letters to Museveni, taking letters to South Sudan, to Salva Kiir. And what is happening, this game plan of Mudavadi moving around with letters to all these states leaders of the East African community?
He's trying to deliver the message of the president, and I think that will be the role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's already taking it up. I think that was before he was even handed over that docket.
I think he was already told, Niaje, Ebu audition for this role.
So whatever he is taking up the role that he was given, and he seems to be working. So far, he's doing a good job. The deputy president needs to, I think, as we said earlier, he needs to bring people together first of all. He is a person who has a very simple, kind of a straightforward
demeanor.
And his office is also very simple and straightforward. So he needs to make sure that he just follows what the president says and constantly repeating the agenda that the government has for the people, calming people down. If the fuel prices are going to spike again, you tell the people why they are going up and why they should be optimistic for the future with the regime that you are in. It's that simple because you don't have a lot of work to do, but I also see this lineup as something that is happening also in the US.
Yeah.
You know, you have the president, the vice, then you have the secretary of state.
Yeah.
The vice always does not have a lot of
work to do.
But
But just to go into the ground and reassure the people that the president is working to deliver this.
yes, and the major task is that when the president is outside, you are in charge.
Yeah.
If something happens, the president will be in charge for the rest of the term.
Yeah.
I think that is the role that our deputy president should take. Should not be worried about Mudavadi. You know,
Yeah.
Mudavadi is not the deputy president. At the end of the day, history has put you in a place that is very high in this country as the deputy president. That alone, even without anything else, that alone is a very, very important.
I can diagnose the deputy president. He has a sickness, imposter syndrome. He does not believe that he's the deputy president. And that's why he has this all jitters. What do I do? He even feels, how dare a whole deputy president be afraid of a CS?
It shouldn't be like that.
And let's move from there. And I hope if the deputy president you're listening, or any of your allies are listening, they should do you good. Moving into the last sort of conversation that we're going to have this Saturday. When we were starting, you said something very interesting. On Monday, we hinted about it. That pronouncement by the ODM party leader Raila Odinga, saying that in 2027 tutarudisha mkono kwa Kalonzo Musyoka. You said that we should give it a prospect. Is there any prospect to give?
We should look at it and try to diagnose it.
Yes.
And see how it can turn out. So Kalonzo Musyoka, let's say, in a very, very lenient kind of a situation.
Why are you lowering your voice? It's like, I'm about to disrespect you, but take it with it's in good faith.
Yes, because it's okay. We spoke about that in that section.
Yes,
viewers can go and look at that and that release.
Yeah.
In a situation where Kalonzo Musyoka gets that party ticket, as a Mio party ticket, to run as the president in a presidential race, who do you think will be the valuable running mate?
The valuable running mate. Oh my goodness, that is a very interesting question. Now, if you want a running mate for Kalonzo Musyoka, now I will give Kalonzo Musyoka one thing. Kalonzo Musyoka is a born diplomat.
Yes.
So then, if you want to give him a running mate, you have to give him a loud running mate. But also, this loud running mate will be a problem for him later on in government, because you will have a deputy who is more vocal. The problem that Uhuru Kenyatta had, he had a more loud deputy president than himself. So Kalonzo Musyoka might find himself in a similar situation. If there is anybody who is ready in this how things are playing out, it would be too early for Edwin Sifuna. It would be too early for Edwin Sifuna. It would be too early for the likes of Babu Owino. Honestly, no name is coming to mind.
No name is coming to mind.
Oh, it seems like you have a name.
I don't have a name.
In the comment, you could tell us if at all it ever happened that Kalonzo Musyoka was endorsed as the presidential candidate for the Azimio coalition, if it will even exist at that particular time, who would be his running mate?
Then he has to also do some calculations here. He comes from Eastern. I know Kalonzo will get a good favor from Coast.
Yes.
From Eastern and some parts of Mount Kenya.
Talking about the Coast, he could throw in his wild cards and go with Mike Sonko.
But that will be one-sided.
What do you mean? Yes, because, regionally.
Yeah,
but he could, Mike Sonko could fervently come up and say, I'm from the Coast.
Yes. He can do that, but already Kalonzo Musyoka will have votes even without Mike Sonko from the Coast. So because
it does not add any value.
It will, but not that much.
Not that much.
Yeah,
probably the money will pay the money that the money.
The money that comes with it, of course.
With Mike Sonko,
of course. money always brings people.
Yes.
So, he has to do that math. Look at regions and where he might not have votes. Yeah, we expect him also to get votes from Nyanza.
Luo Nyanza.
Even if the former prime minister will not have given him his full blessings. I wanted to say this before.
Yeah,
Kalonzo will still get votes. You know, there are those people who are conscious.
Yeah.
And they'll just say, I know, even if Baba is not telling me,
yeah,
I have...
Baba somewhere.
Yes,
Baba akilala tu anasema mvote Kalonzo.
Even if he doesn't say that,
yeah,
you know, there are those people who have just the conscience to say, I believe this man,
yeah,
because he went all in for Baba.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
owe
Yeah.
on my own. So he has that kind of a following from Nyanza already. That is given. No, Baba will just increase, even coming to Western a bit, you know. So in the event that Baba sits in the back seat and says, Kalonzo, you go, I will support you. Yeah. Then he needs to pick someone from maybe regions that he seems not to be getting a lot of votes, or Mount Kenya. Yeah. Mount Kenya can also be a very good spot for him. Just divide the votes that will come from Mount Kenya and get all these other votes that belongs to Raila Odinga, and that will be a very good winner.
You've spoken about the mountain. What if Rigathi Gachagua runs with Kalonzo Musyoka?
It is unlikely.
What if that's a wild take.
That's a wild take. Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and that is a deputy president.
Yeah, Rigathi Gachagua is the deputy president.
Kalonzo as the front runner.
Yes.
Rigathi.
Do you know why I ask you that question? Yeah. Because it is very apparent as how things stand right now, because we still have 4 years to go. But as things stand right now, there might be a split. Yeah, there might be a split. And if that split happens, then definitely the deputy president and the president might fall out.
Yes.
Yeah. If they fall out, are the ambitions of the deputy president currently going to sway away and say that, okay, because I've fallen out with my boss, now I'm not going to have any political interests? There is also that question, who takes up the kingship at the mountain? Or, actually, if Kalonzo Musyoka is backed, then Maina Njenga could be his running mate to take up that position of the kingpin in Mount Kenya.
I will ask one question. I'll ask one question on this.
Yes.
Do you believe Rigathi Gachagua is the ultimate kingpin? And do you think he's self-made, or William Ruto made him to be where he is?
Rigathi Gachagua isn't... sorry to say this, but to me, it seems like Rigathi Gachagua does not have a voice of his own. Sorry to say this. Because even when he was a member of parliament, he was not heard. It was only known that Rigathi Gachagua is the member of parliament for Madira. But look at people like Babu Owino. The man, he was known that this is the member of parliament of Embakasi East, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Look at guys like Simba Arati, who lives to be a member of parliament in Embakasi West. Is it West or South? And he goes all the way to Kisii and becomes a governor in a single sweep. Yeah, people who have had this presence. We do not have that with the deputy president currently. So I think the deputy president has, and that takes me back to what I said, that he needs to find his own language. Yeah. He needs to go into that mode where you do not outshine your master, but find your own language and run with it.
Yeah.
So that he has the ability to say, even if he falls out with the president, he says, you have seen throughout the entire time, I have supported what the president has said. And best of that card, he can come and say, guess what? Because the president decided this way, this is what I'm also deciding.
Yeah.
After he has shown that these are my capabilities.
And you know, that is why the deputy president is very keen on speaking out and just visiting the mountain.
Yeah.
He's worried that he is not getting that grip that he needs with the mountain. Yeah. You know, that is why I asked you, do you think he's self-made, or he was just for the moment?
He's a cosmetic. He was makeup, basically.
For the
moment, because the the president now could have not gone and he could have taken the votes eventually, but he needed to take them with a face.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
With a face. There are people who still would right now vote either with the deputy president or without. They would still vote for the president. Yeah.
So in that kind of a situation, then Kalonzo Musyoka, if he picks Rigathi Gachagua, there will be a problem there.
And then that is why I'm saying he picks who? He picks Maina Njenga. If Maina Njenga will be ready by that time, question for another day. But currently, as things stand right now, Maina Njenga would be the perfect fit.
He's picking. He's picking. So in that situation, maybe if he has Maina Njenga, that will, as a running mate,
Yes, as a running mate.
That will split the votes from the mountain.
Absolutely.
50-50 and perhaps some sort of that.
Yeah.
Then you'll maybe now start worrying about Nyanza and Western. That will be where
No, Nyanza and Western is very simple. Do you know why it's very simple? You have a prime cabinet secretary position. You can give it to one of the kingpins in the current kingpin in Nyanza. Yeah, Western probably right now it might be so close to the president, so you will only have to worry about who do I. Actually, it's very simple to split this thing. You would only identify who do I make the prime CS, or who do I make the speaker, and who do I give the speakership in Senate, and you're done.
Our politics
of exchange and. It's economics.
Yeah.
That's how you know we've grown, when we start coiling our own words.
Of course.
Yes.
They'll soon join the dictionary. So I think Kalonzo has a good chance.
Yes.
He is a serious contender in 2027 if he gets the support of Raila Odinga. And, people will like to also support someone who is not so much vocal. We have a president now that is so widely vocal, saying promises that people are saying that he's not making, So people might say, we've heard this. We want a change. We want a change of someone who's subtle, someone who's just calm and, a diplomat. If that comes to it, and I saw someone saying if the economy continues to behave the way it's behaving, perhaps people will need someone who will be telling them the truth, and just saying things as they are. And
talking about the truth, I think there is a clip that was circulating widely on social media, and I don't think this clip is current. It is just previous, but because of the sort of tone that we are in politically, someone did the thing, cut, post it. The deputy president was like, you have to tell people the truth. So the way it was sort of framed, it sort of was saying that even the caption pale juu ilikuwa nasema the deputy president telling the president to be a more truthful person and tell Kenyans what exactly is happening. It's not a current clip, but it's sort of it was sort of strategically posted so that it can add sort of fire to the sort of fuel to the fire that is currently ravaging the UDF flank.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people need to be told the truth. If the economy is not in a good position, tell them to brace. It can be in different channels. The president doesn't have to come himself and say. He can use even the minister of finance or whatever to come and just tell the people that we're experiencing this because of that.
Having Mtai Kagwe during the COVID-19 sort of pandemic situation.
Exactly. And just tell the people that for the short time we're going to experience this and that, so that don't scare the people, but at the same time keep them informed. It's their right to be informed on what goes on, even if some of it may be not caused internally. Just let them know. They deserve to know.
Isn't that the work of the government spokesperson?
It is.
Okay, that is a whole conversation that we might not want to go into right now. I hope you have picked a thing or two as you are enjoying your Saturday afternoon. That's all we've had for you this afternoon. But remember, this is dropping in the afternoon. There is a lot of politics that is happening in the evening, and it's happening on Sunday. Also, we have not touched anything about Friday, the Mashujaa Day celebrations. Let us touch base on that on our Monday edition, 7 to 8 p.m. Bonnie, what you say?
I think they should wait for a very good analysis of what happened yesterday and the weekend. And it's going to be a bang as always.
Yeah. Absolutely. And more short form content is coming both on our social media platforms. You can